then I can say what the out range is. So I do a really, really tiny number now. So something like that might be even too big. So minus 0.01. On 0.01. So now you are asking why you're doing this, because we had 5 before and that was already nice. The reason is so it is 0, it is plus 0.001 at this minus. So we are obviously the best friend of debug. Zero zero 0.001 at this minus. So we are obviously getting the right value. So this is not the issue. So maybe the values are just like really too small. So let's see. So that's what I said. It's a pretty honest approach here. That's how prototyping works. It's still not working. So let's just put this in for the second. I said it's a pretty honest this in for the second. There we go. Okay, the main problem is I'm thinking in the wrong direction. This is a pretty low number. So I can even let's say let's start this again, and then
Why
let's
is it
go
important?
here.
Why is it important to use delta second?
Input is depending on the frame rate. So if the frame rate is really high, then your boat is turning like super fast. It's still not working. So let's just put this in for the second. There we go. Okay. The main problem is I'm thinking in the wrong direction. This is a pretty low number. So I can even let's say let's start this again, and then
Why
let's
is it
go
important?
here.
Why is it important to use delta seconds though?
As I said, otherwise your input is depending on the frame rate. So if the frame rate is really, really high, then your boat is turning like super, super fast. And when the frame rate is low, your boat is turning slower. So every time you do this kind of input stuff, it is, or if you manipulate your boat, or your character, your whatever, you should think about if it is frame rate dependent, and this is, and as you can see when I do watch here, you can see it's 0.008 on my PC. So this is pretty low. So I did completely the wrong thing. Instead of doing a really small number here, I need to put something like -50, -50 and 50, something. So I was just not giving. So you can see now I have the controller, and I can actually do my boating here already, and it already feels kind of nice. So, and I can use keyboard as well to just testing. Okay. So that's it. So that's it. Let's see on my list. Big. So minus 0.01 on 0.01. Number in, we also want to take in account the frame rate. So we have this delta seconds. So that is the seconds between two ticks, and that can vary. So what we want to do is we want to multiply this now. And to be honest, I made this wrong in my own prototype, and the two ticks, and that can vary. So what we want to do is we want to multiply this now. And to be honest, I made this wrong in my own prototype, and the moment I built the shipping build, my ship was rotating like hell. Because it was the framework was much higher. So now we have this. So let's see. So first of all, I should be able. It's not doing anything. So let's see. Does it really not do anything, or did I roller? And I can actually do my boating here already, and it already feels kind of nice. So, and I can use keyboard as well to just testing. Okay. So that's it. Let's see on my list. So we have the boat, we had the force, we can go left and right. We understood a little bit about the controller and the pawn. We replaced the static thing with a pawn. We have this, we have at rotation, we spin around, we make the input, we have the camera. Now we have to fix something. But we will see this in a second. Maybe it's time to get the real boat. Okay, so now I switch out of this. So that was a moment when I made the first version of this prototype. That was also the moment where I said, okay, this is nice with a rowboat, but I want a war gallon. I want a really big one, and I want cannons, and I want wind and sails. So this is nice. But let's go to, and I use Blender for that. So I will not model the thing from scratch now, but I will only fastly show what I basically did. So I just started with a cube, scaling it up to a size I can work with. Always apply. As said, I'm pretty new to Blender. I started like 10 weeks, 11 weeks ago. I found some nice tools. One is the auto mirror tool. So if I hit that, it is already mirroring the thing and all the clipping and all that. As said, I will not I will not go too much in detail, but show a little bit how fast you can do kind of small assets if you need them. So let's scale. Let's scale on Y. No, let's scale the whole thing on Y like this, and then I think I did a lot of loop cuts, and then I like got in phase mode, and then I GZ, like trying to get it into shape. So maybe sharp is better. So I mean, there are a lot of good tutorials out, so it's not on me to tell people how Blender works, but basically you can see. So this was actually pretty fast to do, and then I don't know, like this. No, maybe not that.
If you're curious about how to use Blender with Unreal Engine, Kay Vassy did
yeah,
a talk.
I will elaborate on that a bit. So we will go back and forth a bit. So after I made some, so I started like that, and the result was this. So you can see it is just like super low poly. And the only other thing I did is I scaled down the UVs and put it on this little thingy, this little texture. So that's a 8 by 8 pixel texture I'm putting it on, because I'm not really good in texturing and all that. I hate UVs. So that was a good workflow for me. So I made that, and I also made a blocking, a special blocking, and when you call it UCX underscore, and then in this case, I didn't use the send to. So I have the send to Unreal plugin here, which is on Git, which is super awesome. It changed the way I worked with this, but it is still a little bit in development, and some things it can't do yet. For example, if you have two FBX you want to put together, and this UCX kind of thing is a workflow thing for integrating external collision, then this is not doing it. So I select that, and then I go to export FBX, and then war gallon. What I normally do is I only select stuff, and then amateur and mesh. Then it's important to have the axis right. So up is Z, and forward is minus X. In my case, it's minus Y. It depends how you model the stuff. I don't have animations. I don't have an amateur. I do phase export. for the normals, and then I'm good to go. So and then I export. So if I now let's do a new folder in Pirates, because we will have more and more stuff for the ship. Let's make a ship folder, and then let's import that. So where do we have it? Assets, Pirates, Wargarland, and then there it is. So we import this. I should press a button. That always helps. So I bring this in a collision. We vertex color we would maybe replace, but I don't have vertex color on that. We import the normals. I don't want to compute them. I want to bring them in. So that's basically it. So let's see how this goes. So here we go. We have our Wargallon. It has different color. That's the first problem. And the other problem we're having is this really weird black shadows kind of things here. Took me a little bit a while to find out what this is. So let's fix this first. As we are using distance fields, this is actually, can I show the distance field here? No, I can only show it here. So if I bring this in, and then we do you remember the distance field mode is, so we can see it? Visualize distance field ambient occlusion. So here you go. So this is what it does, and my model is just like not really made for that. So I have so this is where my black stuff comes from. So to fix this, we have to increase the resolution of the calculated distance field. But this is dangerous. If you go too high, then it takes a long time for each model to calculate. But for this one, let's see, distance field resolution scale. Let's put it to 2. That's already a bit high, but I apply changes. Then this problem is gone. And you can't hear it, but my PC is now calculating it. It takes a little bit of time. It's a mathematic stuff. So yeah, that was the first thing to fix. And then the color is wrong, but that's easy to fix. So when I brought it in, it already made a material. So and the material has nothing in it than just the texture, and the texture looks weird. So let's take a look at the texture. And as I have this 8x8 pixel, super small thing, what it basically does, it is blending it. It is using the wrong filter options. So I want to do nearest first, and then I use for now user interface RGBA to keep the colors. And I don't care so much about resource size. As you can see, it is so small. it even thinks it's 0 kilobyte. So maybe it's 1. So it is so small that that I don't have to care for memory or something like that. So let's go back. That looks better. So let's compile the material. Let's close this. And now it looks really similar to what I had in Blender. It's good enough for me for now. I'm a bit proud of this because, as I said, I'm not really a modeler, and it came out by accident with this nice shape. I tried to recreate it, and the second one wasn't as good as the first one. So sometimes you just have been lucky, I think. Okay, let's bring this in. So let's rename the static mesh to ship. So a little bit, and then we do our Wargallon, and you can see already also something I'm doing wrong here. There is another good source you should check out, which is the naming convention from Alar, which you should use, which I currently don't use, but it's like name your stuff properly that you can find it, material with M underscore, textures with T underscore, etc. Normally in prototype phase, I don't care too much, and when it settles, then I clean up and do it right. Okay, so what you also can see here, I just put it in as it is, so you can see it is looking in Y direction and in X. The reason is I modeled it in the wrong direction in Blender, so that's my fault. And to fix this in an easy way is I can import it with a rotation. So what I'm doing now, it's more a hotfix. You can do it properly by turning it around and exporting it with the right direction, etc. But for now, I'm turning it around in import. So I'm changing the import rotation and then I re-import. And it takes a bit of time because it has to recalculate. The distance field. So in a second, you can see it is showing again properly in the wrong direction. Yes. So that, but this is a stuff that's totally normal when you make a game, especially with different tools. So it's minus 90. And that's something you should figure out early on. So also the sizes of the stuff. So I modeled the ship. The first version was super, super rough. And then I put it into the engine, and then I used the camera and the distance, and I tried to get a feeling how big are the waves compared for the ship, how big should be the ship on screen, and in this way I figured it out. So here's our Wargaming, and it's already placed. Just our water points might be wrong. So let's see what it does if I just press play. So yeah, it is already a bit like a big ship. So as I said, for the buoyance, maybe the water checking points are not okay. So first of all, let's do like 4 of them. And then let's do like minus 300. I have no idea. 75 maybe. And here like 60. I don't know. Oh no, 90. Yeah. So Z is always 90. So that is the water line we are wanting to have. And then we have minus 300, and we have maybe 300. And then we have 75 and minus 75. And here the same 75 and minus 75. So let's see how this looks like. The ship is still a little bit fast to reduce that, but that already feels nice. So it's going through the waves. I can control it. It is leaning a little bit back and forth. So I think it's nice. Okay. So what's just interesting? What's just interesting and bothering me, the ship is in the wrong way. You see, we still going backwards. So the input here is 1000, but we really want to have the forward vector right. Otherwise, all our calculations get really hard. So our ship is still wrong. So actually 90 was right. Yes, I turned the camera around. That's really helpful. Should turn the camera 180 degree. So I saw that before. So let's check this. So I select that, go here at component, and then say static mesh again. So we just take another one in. And for now, so this is 90 degrees. This looks nice. So let's check this. Or maybe I just press save. Did I press reimport? That's something after 8 hours of day. This is a little things.
I think you hit save.
Yeah, it might be. So now it's the other way around. Yeah. Okay. I deleted my. So that was me. I just pressed the wrong button. So now the ship should stand in the wrong direction, which is good. So let's turn it around. And now we have this, and maybe we make it a little bit slower. It's not a motorboat, it's a sailing boat. And now we are there. Okay, that's cool. So we have that. So Victor, I'm running a little bit over time, right?
No, you're good.
I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have that. We have our little gallon. We have the graphics for it. We did the water points. We fixed the Z. I made a note for myself because this happened to me all the time that I pushed it down or upwards. So now we should check that it's using actually the winds. So it is a sailing boat. So we should go faster with the wind and slower against the wind. So now it's getting interesting because we have to see where we get the wind from. So let's check this out. So basically, if I don't move it, you can see a little bit with the waves. The wind is coming here from the 360 degrees, so it's showing up. So 0.5 is half of it. So now the wind is coming from that direction. So this water shader has it. So let's take a look again at this ocean manager. It seems to be a really big guy here, BP ocean manager. So here we go. So the ocean manager with all this craziness, which I don't want to take a look at. Let's see, here is a set parameter thing. And here it is setting the wind direction. So it has an own wind direction. So the ocean manager knows the wind direction, and it is getting it from a parameter collection. So which is pretty nice. A parameter collection is just like everybody can write into a parameter collection, and then shaders can use this, or even the logic can use it here. So what is cool with this, though, is our Wargallon already knows about the ocean manager. So we don't need the river manager, we don't need the lake manager, but the ocean manager. So we can get this, and then wind direction, we can get the wind direction. So here we go. So here's the wind direction. This is nice. So what we want to do is we want to influence the force more or less, depending if we are going against or with the wind. And there's dot product, which is really cool to find that out. Oof, are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah? Chat is also good? All fine?
All fine. Are you fine?
Yeah. Sometimes in between I have the feeling my brain is exploding because I try to remember it and to do it right and to not mess up. So yeah,
I think you're doing great.
Okay, cool. Whew. So we have a value here between 1 and 0. What we have to do if we want to compare a dot product. So a dot product, basically what it is doing, I have a vector and I have another vector, and then if I do a dot product between them, I can basically say, do they show in the same direction? Do they show what's called in English orthogonal? I don't know. I think it's in German it's orthogonal. I'm not sure what the English term is when it shows like this.
The cross vector, diagonal.
What is the vector, Victor?
Wow, that's the question now, is it?
Use for that. But this one is not a vector, so we would have to convert this to a vector. So like I don't know, we have to multiply this by 360. I mean, I'm with all this vector stuff, I'm okayish good. But sometimes I don't know how it's with all of you who are developing games. When it comes to this, it can be really difficult. So I could make something like rotate around axis, whatever, and then I take the vector and the angle, and the axis is z, and whatever. I could do all that, but I know already that the wind in my game is important. I use it a lot. So the wind direction, maybe I want to store it directly in a kind of value. This comes from the marketplace asset, and it's good for that. But I need to extend that. So give me a second.
Yeah, Unreal can actually, or Unreal helped me learn trigonometry because of the ability to be able to just use the functions, see what they do
Yeah.
in 3D, and then sort of apply that to the actual concepts. Sort of I guess it's like in a reverse way. But for me, it really, really helped being able to visualize it and play around with it in the viewport in 3D. Rather than just doing it on paper. Maybe some math instructor out there will be like, no, you have to learn it in like the coordinate system and all of that. But for me and sort of how to apply it to game development, it's an immense help being able to visualize it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I have a daughter. She's 20 now, and she didn't like that stuff in school. But when I have shown her what I'm doing with it, it gave so much purpose to it and so much more understanding. So my daughter learned a lot of coordinate system in Minecraft, actually. What I'm doing now is I'm doing exactly this calculation, but I'm doing it in the Ocean Manager, because when I have the wind direction here, it can also store like a vector, and then it's much easier for me to work with that. So what I'm basically doing is I'm taking the wind direction, I'm making it as an angle, so I have a 360 degree now, and the axis I'm turning this around is around Z. So Z is showing up. So basically what I'm doing is now I'm using the angle, I'm using this axis, and then I get a rotator. And this rotator I can use with get forward vector. And now I have a nice vector I can use with. This is a forward vector of the wind. So I promote this to variable, call this wind direction vectors in the game should be called Victor. So this is
that would get really confusing.
This is your vector, Victor. God, have never ever someone else made that joke? I mean, this is so obvious. So instead of doing this here, I can go now and say get wind direction vector. Okay, so this is nice, because what I do now is this is direction of the wind, but we don't want to go faster in the direction of the wind. We actually want to go in the opposite direction of the wind. We want to get faster. So I will turn this around with -1. So now it's getting in the opposite direction. So that I don't want to be between -1 and 1. I don't want to go backwards. So let's just add 2 to it, divided by 2. So we have at least a little bit speed even against the wind. That makes no sense from a logical point of view. As said, I'm sailing. I'm always tempted to size, but yeah, that's not. Then you make a simulation. I mean, we Germans are big in simulations, but I don't want to make a sailing simulation. So we want to make something more fun, arcade-y, arcade-like. So, whoop. Okay, so I'm not sure if this was the right value. Whatever, let's see if our little boat moves at all. Why doesn't it move? Oh, okay, so we are going again, and here we go with. I mean, as said, I didn't check what value we had, so let's make it a bit faster so we can see it. So we go again, still a little bit fast, but we should be even faster. And you can see this. Woo, woo, woo. We are motorboat against, and when we are with the wind, and when we are against the wind, we are much slower. So, but the value is really off. So let's do half of that. Oh, by the way, when you balance your stuff, it is always nice to do the Sid Meier rule. So you either double it or you make half of it. Don't make minor changes. Make big changes, and then getting closer to the value you want. So okay, so here we go, and it feels already right. So it's fast when we go in this direction, and it is slower when we go in this direction. So next we need sails. Very subtle. So the waves are moving. That's the only hint I have that there is wind. So let's make this a little bit more obvious. And to do this, I went back to Blender, and I made a little wind vane. So let's wait a second. Let's keep this. And this is really this is really really easy and is super super great, because normally, and everybody who's doing Blender and Unreal and also other DCCs, it's not a Blender problem. If you export this to an FPX, it is actually taking the world origin as pivot. So what basically is happening is it's hard to do. So now I want to use the Send to Unreal tool, but something I forgot at the beginning do now. So I have to enable it so it is possible. What I need for that is a plugin, and that is the Python plugin. So I need to enable. So I need to be able. Python editor scripting plugin is something I need. So when I do this, I have to restart. So hopefully, something I totally forgot, and I had it really as a biggest big point on my list, and I completely forget it. So version control. So normally I use version control. So even if I work alone, it is really nice to check in from time to time. There are really good stuff, like even free stuff, SVN you can use. You can use Git. I do not recommend Git personally because this is binary files. So I personally use Plastic as CM right now, which is awesome. I have a cloud version of that, and I just put my stuff in there. So I can also grab my notebook, get the latest, and work from there. So, and I'm super happy since we decided to have the plugin even compiled into the version, because before that I always had to do it by myself. So this is really nice. Okay, so what did I want to do? Okay, we enabled the, okay, here we go. And what you also can see is directly when I open it up, it loads this map. So we can fix two things now. First, in the project settings, under maps and mode, there is the editor startup map. So when I made the last game, it was a big space exploration RPG where loading the whole galaxy was it was a lot when you work on a tiny thing. So you can have a default game map. That is the one that is baked when you want to release a game, but you can have an editor start map. So you can have a smaller map where you just test stuff. So let's make this the demo map ocean, so we don't have to do it. And so I don't forget later, let's make also the game default map, game map ocean. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to do. Next thing we want to do is for the Python to use the Send to Unreal tool, we need to enable remote execution. So I just do this. So the Blender plugin tries to find the first instance it can find and sends the stuff there. So this is how you enable it. And I can tell you from an hour searching yesterday why it didn't work. If you have two instances running and both listen to it, the plugin doesn't care. It just grabs the first one. And I was wondering why in my new project nothing shows up, while in my old project 10 wind vanes appeared. So now I hope this is the only one I have opened, but this is just a minor thing. So so let's go back. And I really hope this works now out of the box. So when I have the plugin, you have this different folders, and there's a really good live stream about. I think, Victor, didn't we just release the Unreal Fest talks?
Yes, we did. It's available on YouTube as well as our main homepage. And there is quick start videos as well as documentation on every step required to set up the Send to Unreal add-on on the GitHub page. We've been linking that in chat a little bit earlier, but I'll make sure to link it again.
Okay, so that's basically what I'm using here. So I have my Wind Vane in the mesh folder, and now I'm really hoping this works because I haven't tested. It. So it should send it over. So if I go to my thingy here. So let's see. I'm pretty sure it did exactly what I just told you. You have to be aware of. Yes, I have a second instance running. So this is really too late for me. Project settings. So I have to switch it off in my second one. He sent it to my other instance because I'm cheating a bit. If I lose my next steps, I look at my other project. So let's see if this works now. So let's just do it again. So here it is. So here we have a wind vane. You say, Andreas, where's your wind vane? You are cheating. Yeah, it's just a plane. So it is it has no material. So here it basically is. So first of all, see if this is right. So let's go to our little chip, and then let's add. Let's select it so it's easier, and then let's add static mesh. It's putting it actually to the world origin and then sends it over and then puts it back. So this is so cool, because it means you can model your whole thing in Blender, set the origin, and then send it all as single assets over, and then it is all where it should be. So it is in the right direction. I have it there. So now it needs some material so we can see it. So the reason why I'm putting this now is to have something really visible on the ship that shows me the direction of the wind. So we need to make a material for it. So first of all, go here, make a right click, make material, underscore wind vane, and then we have the material. So it shouldn't be black, so we need a color. So I click here and then find something like, I don't know, I like orange. So let's do something really bright orange. Yeah, this is nice. So I use this as a base color. And if I now go to my wind vane model and say wind vane, it is there, and you can see again it's just one side. So in the material I can tell it be two-sided. I can also say this one has no that can be completely rough. So that's a small optimization you can do. If you have something that isn't has no specular, it has no reflection